Hello and welcome to Transformation Now. Hi, I'm Rita Rocker, speaker, author, trainer with SoaringHigher.rocks, and I'm so happy to be here to continue talking with you about very valuable life transforming information from my book, Hope at the End of Your Rope, Steps to Rebuild Your Life. And so I'm on chapter 11 now, which is called Radical Hope, Changing the Course of Your Life. A lot of us need to change the course in our life, either the full life or a particular area of it. And so we always think, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he or she. And so this is really to help transform our hearts and our minds to go forward, doing what God's called us to do and using all of our abilities. I'm working on a book about Miracle in the Mirror and, really being able to pursue the passions that we've maybe had all of our lives. And so with this one, Radical Hope, Changing the Course of Your Life, that takes a lot of work sometimes, but it's definitely worth it. And so, again, as I've always said, do you need to reinvent a particular part of your life or all of your life? Sometimes during times of transition that are difficult, lost a job, lost a person, something has happened and really changed our life, sometimes we can put unreasonable demands upon ourselves because it's, why am I still in this mess? Or what happened? Or why did it happen to me? Why didn't it happen to somebody else? And so we ask those questions. And if we don't meet our own expectations of, well, you shouldn't be in this mess in the first place. Why don't I live in a better house or have a better car? Then a lot of times we get into more self-defeating conversations with ourselves. And that's going to keep us in the same spot that we're in. And so, think about the behaviors that we've perpetuated. It's like, well, I look back 5 years, I look back 10 years, I look back last month. Why am I in the same position? Well, that's because so many times we haven't really taken the steps to move forward. We want to, but it's too much work. It's too scary because it's not familiar enough to us. And so sometimes we're just afraid to move on out. And so, a lot of times my biggest enemy is procrastination. Waiting till the last minute. Why do we procrastinate? Usually it's because it looks a little too scary. It looks like it's too much work. We're afraid maybe we'll mess it up. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we procrastinate instead of actually sitting down, digging in, and doing the work that we need to do. If it seems frightening in any way or uncomfortable, then a lot of times we procrastinate because we don't want to deal with it. But procrastination is a big one as far as not taking the steps necessary to change our lives. Sometimes it's just a matter of complaining. I know a couple people that have probably burned bridges with almost everyone they know. Why? Because it's constant complaining. They're so unhappy and miserable with themselves and their lives that they complain about everything to everybody instead of taking the steps necessary, which many of them would be uncomfortable, to change those behaviors, those attitudes, those outlooks that they have. And sometimes like, oh, I'll just have some drinks tonight. I'll just sit and vegetate on TV night after night after night, which doesn't get us anywhere. And then we look back and we think, well, why haven't I gone anywhere? Why am I still in this mess? Well, it's because a lot of times it's very uncomfortable and maybe we just don't want to deal with it or we're afraid to deal with it. A lot of times it's easier to stay in something that's very uncomfortable because it's familiar instead of stepping out. And so think about that. It's going to be different this time. Life is all about forks in the road, okay? Many of us run into forks in the road all the time. Well, if I take this path, because something needs to change, but if I take this path, it's wide, okay? And it's familiar to me. So I guess I'll just keep going down this path, even though we have to admit, I'll still be in the same situation. And then we see this little narrow path over there. It might be kind of scary. It's unusual. We might have to, put our foot down and take some steps that aren't comfortable in order to deal with people or situations. And so it's like, I think I'll just go back down this easy path because it's familiar. But will it get us anywhere? No. Keeps us in the same spot. So think about those forks in the road and think about, no, if I take this fork this time, yes, it's going to require me to do certain things, take certain steps, but hey, it's worth it because look what's at the end of that road. It's my new job, it's my new career, it's my new family, possibly, something like that. And so think about that. Which fork in the road do I want to take, and why or why not am I doing that? And so, sometimes it's important just to back off and rest. That doesn't mean sit on your laurels, so to speak. Sometimes we just need a day or so where we can literally back off, shut things down, take walks, spend time in prayer, or do something, just meditate, and put on some quiet meditation music just to be able to clear the mind, relax, and then positive thoughts can start coming to you because your mind has been decluttered from everything that keeps going around and around in your head. I usually deal with that. Mine is at night when I go to bed. I can be so tired, and as soon as I go to bed, it's like, oh, monkey mind hits, and it's thinking about everything of the whole wide world. And so again, do what you need to do to back off and rest to clear your mind. Another one is saying no to unreasonable expectations. And that happens so much. I've seen that so much lately, especially. There's the word I remember when I was in corporate America called attrition. And that means people are leaving. They're either getting let go, they're being downsized, or they're quitting or whatever. So what happens? I've seen this over and over again where, okay, this person left. So now you over there, you're going to take their work as well as the work you already have. Okay, that's an unreasonable expectation unless both of them had very little work to do in the first place. But that's something that I've seen a lot. Why do they do that? Because the company wants to save money. So where do they put the pressure? On the employees. Okay, so a lot of times we'll have to stand up for ourselves and say, I can do this and this, but you're going to have to help me prioritize that because this is not possible with the amount of work that there is to do. Sometimes we do. We'd have to put our shoulders back and we have to stand up for ourselves. Another is, I've seen a few times personal people I know that have enabled a grown child, an adult child, to sponge off of them. It's like, well, this person got into trouble. This person even ended up in jail. Now I need to bail them out. And I've heard stories about other people too. So when I do that, yes, I need to help them. I'm the mom, I'm the dad, etc. And this person doesn't really want to work, or they don't want to put enough work in. And so what do? Mom, Dad, I need money. Give me money. And so the parent, in some cases that I've known personally, they will give them money. But like this one woman I talked to last week, again, her daughter is just using her actually and sponging off of her. So she doesn't have enough money to pay her own bills. Why? Because her grown daughter who's able to work doesn't want to work, so I'll just sponge off of mom. Again, that's an unreasonable expectation for that adult daughter to put on her mom. But I've seen those things over and over again. Sometimes we have to say, no, this is very unreasonable. I can't do this anymore. You need to start taking care of yourself. Sometimes, it's like, oh, well, Mom, we're going to go out again, so we need you to babysit for free. And I've known people, too, that it's like, okay, Mom doesn't have anything else to do, so she can keep babysitting for our kids while we keep running around. Yes, people should help each other out with childcare, etc. However, a lot of people are being used. That's an unreasonable expectation. Another one is, okay, I need a ride here, I need a ride there, I need a ride everywhere. Yes, we do have to help people out and give them rides sometimes places, especially in medical situations. However, sometimes it's, I'm going to borrow your car, give me a ride here, there, and everywhere. That's unreasonable expectation. Borrowing money, like I said. Sometimes, oh, well, I don't want to eat this, so you're going to have to fix me something else. I see that a whole lot lately. When I grew up, you ate what was on the table, or you went hungry, or you fixed yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a bologna sandwich. Hey, we were fine back then. And so again, that's unreasonable expectations to expect a parent or someone to go, oh, well, I won't eat this and you eat that. And no, that's unreasonable again. And being demanding in all sorts of ways. So think about any unreasonable expectations that you may be dealing with right now that need to stop in order for you to have the time, the energy, the focus to be able to do what you need to do to move forward. So, assess what needs to be changed. Some of the things that I just mentioned, or some other things in your life that need to be changed in order to be able to go forward. And write out that list. And then I would say, each week or so, start tracking. Okay, I sat down with this person and had a conversation. I laid out some things for them. I worked with them on coming up with some agreeable solutions. And then it's up to that person to take those solutions instead of going, no, you just keep doing that for me. No. And so, start tracking what you have done, where you've put your foot down, what suggestions or solutions you've given to other people to help them, but to take some of that off of you at the same time. And then looking in the mirror every day and not doing the, oh my God, look at me, what a mess. I do that in the morning sometimes. So you're like, look in the mirror. But think about that. Look at yourself in the mirror, and you're beautifully and wonderfully made. You are strong. You're made in God's image. You're a very intelligent person. You can do this. A lot of times we have to really tell ourselves, especially if nobody else is, you can do this. You are awesome. You're made in God's image, and you're a smart, successful person. If it's weight, you can lose this weight. God's helping me this weight. Lord is helping me to refinance things in my life so that I can move forward that way and get out of debt. So talk to yourself in the mirror, but only positive things, only things that will bring you forward in that. And then again, like I've mentioned before, who can you ask for help? We have to ask. It's very humbling for some of us to ask for help. But is there a teacher, is there a pastor, is there a friend, a community leader, a mentor, someone that you can talk to? A lot of times it's just, if you offer to buy someone a soda or a coffee or something like that, where you can help them and they can help you. And so think about, who could I just get together with and just kind of help me sort out some things, some financial areas or whatever the case may be. So, again, this book is full of patterns that sometimes we need to break and new ones that we need to create. So, if you go through this book and you go, okay, I'm at the end of the book, now what? And nothing has changed. That means none of the exercises, none of the things that are required to make that change have been done. And so we have to put that on ourselves and go, nope, stops today. I'm going to sit down, even if I have to do it in my car, if I have to get up in the middle of the night, whatever the case may be, do it on my lunch. But I'm working through these things, and that's very, very important. So think about that and go through your list and start working on that. And then too, what friends, family members, jobs, or other areas of your life, and I've mentioned this before, need to be replaced. You go, what do you mean family? Yes, a lot of times we have to replace family members. Because if they're holding us down, if they're causing problems, then you know what? Sometimes friends, and I can attest to that personally, can be more of a family to you than your family is. And so think of that. Maybe there are people in the family, or definitely friends, or people on the job. Maybe you've been hanging out with certain people on the job and you're going, you know what? They just want to go to the bar every night and drink. They don't want to talk about anything intelligent or anything important. What am I doing? How is this helping me in my life? And then sometimes, start watching other people, the ones that are succeeding, the ones that are moving forward. How do they speak? How do they act around other people? How do they dress? And I'm not saying buy expensive clothes by any means, but how are these people moving forward? What are they doing? And we can learn a lot just from watching people and emulate some of those things that successful people do, and have intelligent conversations, and we learn. I'm spending most of my time when it's just me at home, where I'm actually watching or listening to programs that are helping to build me up and build up my brain and teach me new things. Because I don't care how old we are, we need to keep doing that instead of just sitting there, in front of the TV. So again, YouTube, I'm going to exercise. Okay, my TV choices, I think I'll be watching more YouTube and less, brainless programs in order to acquire new skills. So I'm doing that most of the time now when I'm home. And then as old damaging thoughts are concerned, we have to write those down and then rewrite. So my teacher said I would never amount to anything. I've heard that testimony from different people. And so, no, that's so wrong, and that is not true. But sometimes it can plant a seed in our brain that, oh yeah, I guess I won't amount to anything, so I'll just be a failure the rest of my life. And what happens? A lot of times we are. Now, I know I've said this example before, but I'm going to say it again. And it was a friend whose husband is a doctor, but when he came over from another country at age 12, he didn't speak any English, and he worked really hard in school, but the school counselor said, you know what, you get a job as a laborer, which is nothing wrong with that, is wonderful. But he was saying, I think you should go this route. Well, that didn't stick very well with this, at the time, young man, very young man. And then many, many years later, as he became a doctor, he was working in the emergency department of a hospital, and who came in? The counselor that told him to get a labor job. And he said, I don't know if you remember me or not, but you told me to do blah, 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 and here I am. And he wanted to kind of put a little jab in there that that was the wrong thing to tell him. But in his case, he did not let those comments identify him and put in his head, I can't be a doctor. I don't have the smarts. Well, he did, and he does, and he is a doctor. So just think about those things. Nobody's words ever have a right, or their actions, to determine your future. I let that happen to me quite a bit of my life, and I realized how wrong that was, so we just have to work our way out of it again. And so, writing your to-do list, again, as I mentioned before, friends, signing up for classes, etc., to get a better job. Keep working on the new and booting out all the old thoughts. And so that could be in your home life, it could be in your work, whatever the case may be. And so, I was thinking of some things too as far as moving forward. Joining organizations. If you're afraid to go out and join an organization, find one online where you can get online and maybe there's a room full of people on Zoom. You don't have to say a word, but you start connecting with people. You start getting more comfortable with seeing other people. And then when you have something valuable, you can insert that in there. Another thing is if you need low cost, and besides learning anything and everything on YouTube, Metro Community College is an awesome college. They have all kinds of programs that are very low cost to get you out there, to get you on a new path, start teaching you new things so you can progress forward in your new life. There's a place that we have in Omaha called DoSpace, and I just briefly looked them up last night. I'd been in there before, but they do all kinds of career development. They do any kind of technical training, whether it's on computers, whether it's with artistic machines, entrepreneur classes, entrepreneur skills. This is open to anybody. So if that's something that would help you in these areas, then check out DoSpace. Check out the programs on Metro to get you out and to get you started, because it'll be amazing what you come up with and how your self-esteem can grow as you feel so much better about yourself, because you're learning new things and you can talk to other people about them and build from there. So always think about that, and think about what makes me feel alive. So many times we're just so wrapped up in our thoughts in our head, but think about feelings. What makes you feel alive? Wow, I really felt good when I went to this meeting and people talked to me and I was having so much fun, and I realized how much I love networking. I realized how much I love to talk to these people in this particular industry. And so, there are all kinds of things. This made me feel really good when I was with these people, when I was coaching these kids, when I was talking to a neighbor or a friend who's having financial problems, and I was able to help them. I felt good inside. So think about what makes you feel good and what makes you feel inadequate, bad, angry, sad, whatever the case may be. Because if we stop to think about what makes us feel a certain way, we can really start setting some new goals, taking some new steps in a way that makes us feel positive, confident, and like we're on the right road, the right fork in the road, and not the wrong one. So what do you want to experience? What experiences? No more thoughts right now, but feelings and experiences. What experiences have you had that made you feel so good? Maybe you love to travel and you think, gee, I'd love to be a a travel blogger. I mean, I've seen testimonies of people who were making minimum wage and they became successful travel bloggers and, like traveling all over the country on somebody else's money because they were providing very interesting stories, photos, etc., about certain places and the activities there. So what makes you feel and what experiences have you had that you can actually take to use steps forward. So it's not like just settling for any old job because I need money. Yes, I've been there. But what do I feel like? What experiences have I had? I mean, any experiences I've had that I really loved were working with Chamber of Commerce, working with meetings and planning events and speaking and stuff like that. Not, the ones that drove me nuts were sitting in an office, especially if it was fairly enclosed and on the computer all day. So think about what makes you feel right, feel good, feel positive, and what things don't, because that will really help you to focus forward. And so just think from this day forward, never let failure define who you are. I don't care how many failures you've had. I've had a million of them. Cannot define who you are, but only allow those experiences to help you move one step closer to your breakthrough. That is so, so critical. And so when I let negative thoughts constantly hit me in the head, constantly. And so it's like, nope, shut up. I'm not going that way anymore. And, think of something that's the total opposite of what's trying to hit me in the head, in the mind. And so I would suggest that you do that too. And so, one of the most powerful quotes that I've shared before, but I think is so awesome, is, if you are not being treated with love and respect, check your price tag. What kind of price tag do you have up here? Perhaps you have marked yourself down. It is you who tells people what you are worth by what you accept, okay? So that means not accepting negative behaviors, treatment, anything like that. Get off the clearance rack and get behind the glass where the valuables are kept, because you are very valuable. Learn to value yourself. If you don't, who else will? And that is so true. We have to value ourselves in order for other people to treat us right. Those who don't value us need to go, okay? And it's easier said than done, but we have to switch our energy to that direction. So think, who and what is preventing me from stepping into my new life? Are they perceived fears or real roadblocks? And that is so important, because so many times we have so many perceived fears. Oh, I'm afraid if I go this way, I'll lose my loved one. I'm afraid to go that, then all my friends will leave me and, be stuck up. And so are these perceived roadblocks like that, things that can be changed? Or is it right now you have to stay in a particular position until a child maybe graduates from high school and then you can move on? And if that's the case, what are you doing during this time of waiting if you need to, if it's a real roadblock? So what are you doing? Are you getting educational classes? Are you switching people, places, and things? Do that in case you have a real roadblock that you can't, go too far away from it. But if it's perceived, think about it, because so many times it's perceived fears. I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid that if I try to compete against somebody who has a master's degree and I never even finished my bachelor's degree, they'll frown upon me. So many times a company would rather teach a person technical skills because they have the right mindset, they have the right attitude, they have the great personality, rather than taking someone who has all the education in the world, but their personality is not good and they don't appear like they would get along with other people. So think about that. It's not necessarily all your education. Some of the most successful women that I've known who've made the most money are ones that had no college. And one friend who didn't go past high school started out clerical work at a national advertising agency, and she ended up as one of their vice presidents. No college whatsoever. Inside it bothered her, but yet she just kept going because she didn't let it stop her. And so you don't want to let it stop you either. So always think about that. And again, if you can't completely change an area of your life, like I said, think about what you can do to keep active and keep growing, keep growing. I don't care how old you are, keep growing. That is so important. And then if you're speaking in negative terms, think about turning those into victory. You know, if you think, oh, I'm too old to change careers, nobody gets hired at my age. No, instead you think, I have years of valuable experience and insight and creative relationship building skills that will give me favor to be hired by the best company for me. Use that as a confession. Use that as something to think every day. You know, why you have all this skills and experience. I'm seeing more older people, I'm talking gray hair, older people entering the workforce again because they're reliable and they're trustworthy and they want to work hard. So we'll continue on with this with the next program. I wish you all the best and see you soon.